It is remarkably peaceful in here today.
It really is.
Welcome back to Cafe Karma International. If you just pause for a second and take in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I invite you, the listener, to pull up a chair, take a sip of your tea, and just sit at the table with us.
There's this comforting, almost timeless quietness to this space. Just the faint creaking of the old dark wood beneath our feet.
And the gentle steam rising from the hot herbal tea right here on the table.
Looking across at you, surrounded by these old leather-bound books and star charts, it truly feels like the perfect environment for today's mission.
Absolutely. Because today we are diving straight into the earthly, tangible level of our source material.
Right, the deeply psychological realities of the Moola Nakshatra. We are extracting how this specific energy walks and breathes in the real world.
Which is an exploration of how we all, occasionally, must navigate necessary destruction to find our true foundation.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the core earthly manifestation we are looking at is this primal drive to dismantle reality down to its absolute bedrock.
Exactly. On a psychological level, these individuals are the fearless uprooters.
A fearless uprooters, that is a heavy title.
It is, but it's accurate.
Yeah.
They possess a relentless compulsion to investigate. If you present them with a system or a relationship, they do not care about the superficial aesthetics.
Right. Think of a forensic investigator unearthing a crime scene.
That's a perfect analogy.
When they arrive at a location, they aren't there to, admire the landscaping or the interior design.
No, they have a grim, very specific job to do.
Exactly. They are there to dig past the superficial dirt, to pull up the floorboards if necessary. They want to uncover the absolute hidden truth, no matter how unsettling it might be.
And because they are so comfortable tearing up the floorboards of their own life, the sources highlight their immense resilience.
They inherently know how to bounce back from extreme adversity.
They do.
Yeah.
Because when their world burns down and they are standing at absolute zero, that is precisely where they find their footing.
But, and I think we need to touch on this, that deconstructive drive isn't always utilized perfectly.
This raises an important question. What happens when this intense energy is misdirected?
The psychological shadow side.
Right. The darker manifestations.
Right.
Extreme impulsiveness takes center stage here.
If they are wired to clear the brush, they might strike the match without checking the wind direction.
Exactly. And it comes with this biting sarcasm. If they stray from a righteous path, that investigative sharpness turns into a weapon.
A subconscious mechanism to pierce someone's emotional armor.
Yes. And it leads to these unpredictable crashes. If they feel trapped by their circumstances, they harbor deep, bitter resentment.
So they might orchestrate a massive calamity just to force a reset.
A tendency towards self-destruction, just to shatter the glass ceiling they feel trapped under.
Which is fascinating, but I'd love for you to break down the actual structure of this energy.
The padas.
Yeah, that 13-degree and 20-minute span of Moola. The source is divided into 4 distinct padas, or sublayers, like 4 different psychological flavors.
Let's start with the first pada, which is influenced by Aries and Mars.
All fire and action.
Precisely. This produces the dynamic pioneer. The energy is bold and action-oriented, but the source is warned of the danger of reckless destruction.
Firing the whole board of directors on day 1.
Yes. And there is a specific karmic harm or difficulty related to the father here, a fundamental clash with traditional authority.
They don't want to inherit the house. They want
bulldoze it and pour a new foundation entirely.
So how does that shift in the second pada influenced by Taurus and Venus? Taurus is all about earthly stability.
Which creates incredible tension. This is the earthy builder. This layer grounds the energy into finance and material growth.
Generating wealth from nothing.
Right. But the risk here is over-attachment to material things, which violates their core directive to remain unattached.
And the familial dynamic shifts here too.
Yes, there is often a specific karmic harm or friction related to the mother, a clash between maternal comfort and the soul's need for release.
Moving to the third pada, we hit Gemini and Mercury, so we are in the realm of air and intellect.
This is the curious intellectual researcher. The drive to uproot is applied strictly to ideas and communication.
But the danger there is becoming scattered, right?
Scattered focus, and using wordplay that distances them from others. They analyze their life rather than experiencing it.
Which brings us to the fourth pada, Cancer and the Moon, the intuitive waters.
The empathetic healer, The sources consider this the most auspicious layer.
Because that destructive energy is finally channeled into nurturing.
Exactly. They use their understanding of ground zero to help others navigate their own structural collapses. But they must fiercely guard against deep emotional entanglement.
They can get pulled into the undertow of other people's trauma.
Very easily.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The animal symbol associated with this energy in the texts.
Ah, yes. The male dog.
But let's clarify this for you, the listener. We are not talking about a friendly lapdog fetching a tennis ball.
Not at all. The texts describe a feral hound.
Feral, meaning deeply connected to raw survival instincts.
Yes. Incredibly loyal and fiercely protective of their inner circle.
But wild and aggressive if threatened. If someone threatens their pack, that civilized veneer evaporates instantly.
They bare their teeth to defend their territory. And that idea of the foundation of the base structure leads us perfectly into medical astrology.
How this maps onto the physical body.
Right. Anatomically, Moola is connected to the literal foundation of the human body.
The structures that hold us upright.
Exactly. The feet, the hips, the thighs, and the sciatic nerve.
So if they govern the root system of the body, how does their psychological drive affect them physically?
Because they are constantly dealing with the roots, questioning reality, they are highly prone to nervous agitation.
A shaky foundation rattles the whole house.
A shaky psychological foundation rattles the entire nervous system. If their mind feels unmoored, their legs will literally ache.
Which makes finding a quiet, grounding space like this cafe so essential for them.
Absolutely.
But there is a flip side. According to the sources, these individuals excel exactly where others falter.
Because they are comfortable in the void.
Right. When a structure collapses, most people panic. But they make brilliant researchers, detectives, psychologists, and holistic healers.
It's like a surgeon cleaning a deep wound.
That is a great visual.
If you watch a surgeon debriding a wound, it looks violent. It causes pain in the moment.
They are cutting away tissue.
But that precise, destructive cutting is absolutely necessary to remove the infection and allow true healing. They're not afraid to cause temporary pain to remove the rod.
And what's wild is the specific fields they gravitate toward to do this work.
What's fascinating here is how their earthly drive pulls them in two seemingly opposite directions, both representing the unknown.
On one hand, they are drawn to things under the earth.
Mining, petroleum, discovering hidden botanical roots.
But paradoxically, they are also drawn to things completely beyond the earth. Space exploration, astronauts.
Because they are searching for origins. The dark vacuum of mine shaft or the dark vacuum of space, it doesn't matter.
They're comfortable in the void.
Which is why they are the ultimate architects of startups. They are capable of building massive structures from absolute zero because they fundamentally understand the void.
So, as we sit here, the tea is cooling down, the cafe is quiet. What does this all mean for you?
I'll deliver the precise existential core of this energy, calmly and without any esoteric guru tone. For Moola, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional.
Pain is having the floorboards pulled up.
Yes. Their ultimate earthly mission is to embrace the destruction of superficial attachments. The suffering only comes from resisting that destruction.
Trying to cling to the decay.
Exactly. Only by letting the superficial burn away can they discover their eternal, unshakable spiritual foundation.
So we leave you with a final, lingering thought to mull over as you finish your tea. If the roots of a tree are entirely hidden underground, how much of your own foundation is currently running on autopilot in the dark?
A powerful question.
What superficial attachments might you need to ruthlessly uproot today so that your true self can finally grow?
Thank you for joining us at the table today.
Take care.